My name is John Temple. I am a professor at the Reed College of Media at West Virginia University. I'm from Pittsburgh and Morgantown and various other places, and I am a journalist, writer, and also a screenwriter. I kind of consider Pittsburgh my hometown, but the last 22 years I've been teaching at WVU. I took a journalism class at one point, and I immediately felt very energized by the idea of the end product as a piece of writing, but I also got to learn about the world and go out and interview people, and I was pretty hooked pretty quickly. I was a newspaper reporter at several different newspapers, and eventually I was like, I want to try my hand at writing a book, and then wrote a book called Dead House about the Allegheny County Coroner's Office. They investigate deaths, so not super narrative, not a real strong storyline, but more of a observational type piece. Increasingly, as I approached new books, I decided I wanted to go the route of finding a great story and then telling it, rather than hanging around with people for years and years. So an example would be like American Pain as a book that it's about the opioid epidemic, sort of, but what it's really about are these two young guys who got this idea that they were going to hire some doctors, open up a pain clinic in Florida, and just sell opioids to drug addicts. I started that book knowing kind of what the story was, rather than just like hanging around with someone and hoping that a good story unfolded. I like to tell stories that have a central protagonist, and that's something that I've had a little bit of trouble with certain projects that I've taken on that haven't seen the light of day, where I just couldn't find a really compelling central character whose story pulled you through. By the time I was writing my first book, I knew a lot of writers, but I didn't know any screenwriters. After I wrote my first books, a screenwriter and / director who had done a good bit of work in Hollywood reached out and said, I am very interested in this subject, and it was a huge educational, like a transformative educational moment for me, because I started thinking, well, wow, you can apply this stuff to nonfiction, you can apply this stuff to journalism. And I started doing that with my other books. I structured them like screenplays. I thought of them the way that people in Hollywood think about their stories. And that eventually has led me to the creators of Waco, the TV series. They hired me to work on season 2 of that. It was a small writer's room. We worked on it for 6 months, did a ton of research. It's called Waco, the Aftermath. The first season was about the standoff between the Branch Davidians and the FBI in Waco, Texas in 1993. And the show that I worked on is about what happened next. In the last couple of years, I've started teaching screenwriting classes here at WVU, and we have not ever had any screenwriting classes before. I plan to continue teaching, but I am actively pursuing sort of a variety of projects now, from film and TV to books. I'm driven by doing my own creative projects, and this is an arena that lets me do that. I've lived in a lot of different places, but just the family-oriented nature of West Virginia, the beauty of it. I think living in a place as specific and rich and singular as West Virginia is a huge benefit to someone who likes to tell stories. People in Hollywood are surrounded with other people like themselves, and they're excited when someone comes along who has a different upbringing or has real insight into a part of America that they don't know anything about. So I would say embrace the fact that you're from West Virginia and bring that to your work.